October 30th, 2022 Yongwha Maitreya Buddha Special Sermon. The day before yesterday? Yesterday was Saturday, right? Yesterday, I came to the temple and now I went to my cave. And at night, it was around 11 o'clock, and a huge number of people were dying. So, I told our monk, wow, this is a big problem. A lot of people are dying. I said that, huh? But when the news came out in the morning, I saw that in Yongsan, Itaun, young children, teenagers, in their teens and 20s, a huge number of young people died. It came out on the news. Huh? But I, now, saw it in advance. Them dying? Huh? So, because it's not like it's someone else's business. For a moment, for the young people who were in the accident, for a moment, like this, with a good heart, pray for their souls. For a moment, for about 1 minute, you all pray for their souls. Close your eyes. Now, listen. Today's sermon is about death and reincarnation. I'll give a sermon on that today. Huh? When a person is alive, they don't know well, but when they face death and die, it's the complete opposite of how I am currently alive. A person becomes miserable. Huh? There is no good place to go after death. Saying you go to a good place when you die, well, you go to the land of perfect bliss. Well, you enter the world of Guchen. Well, you enter the celestial world. Those are all lies that swindlers tell. Then why fear death? Right? You all go to the hospital. They struggle to live just 1 hour. 1 hour more a day. Do you know how much humans fear and are afraid of death? Like that? It's so scary. And death is such a fearful death. But if you say you go to a good place when you die, does that make any sense? All religions are all lies. To put it badly, they are swindlers. Swindlers. Where is there a good place after death? Then, when a person lives and dies, they should dance, sing, and dance. Because they died. Because they're going to a good place. Shouldn't you welcome them? But death is, the scariest and most fearful thing in the world is death. Huh? But if you say you go to a good place when you die, that's really, you all don't know much about religion. That's why. The world's religious wars happen because of this religion. Huh? Ours is good, and yours is useless. That's now, people of the world, to each other, saying their own is good. This kind of talk, what's so good about it? Religion, right? Isn't it? You all, at Yongwha temple, like this, now, every Sunday, hold Buddhist meetings and give sermons, so this is not a religious place. What meaning does religion have? If a person gets caught up in religion, they ruin their own life. I'm telling you, they ruin it. You all, think about it carefully. If you get too caught up in religion, you ruin your life. I'm telling you. You should have religion to live with the precious enlightenment in your life. Getting caught up in it, putting everything down, and being in there, what meaning is there in that? It's a body that will disappear when you die. There is nothing in the world about going to a good place after death, right? Isn't it? Where is there to go to a good place after death? There isn't, but they firmly believe it, that they're going to a good place, saying, well, they enter the world of Guchen. Well, they enter the celestial world. Does that make sense? You all, if you look at Shakyamuni Buddha's scriptures, if you look at the Avatamsaka Sutra, it starts with ghosts and ends with ghosts. That's the Avatamsaka Sutra. Then, what did Shakyamuni Buddha believe in? If you look, he believed in gods. God. When you say God, what character for God is it? It's the character for ghost, right? But some monks say, the character for belief. They say, really? Those are crazy people. Monks are at such a low level. Then, why do young people, who study a lot and have good academic backgrounds, go to such low-level monks and temples? When you go there, you just become stagnant, right? Why go there? There are people lower in level than you, such as pastors or monks. Nowadays, almost everyone has a college degree and has learned a lot. You are living in an era where everyone is well educated, so it's difficult for you. If you had been here 20 or 30 years ago, you would have been doing well. Back then, there weren't many people with a college degree. Do you understand? These days, almost everyone has gone to college, so living in this world is difficult for you. Isn't that right? But what is time? Time? Time keeps changing. That's what time is. If time stops, the world ends, right? I must live according to the times. But why are you trying to bring back a time that existed 3,000 years ago? Isn't that right? You shouldn't be thinking about things like that. Why are you thinking about things from 3,000 years ago? Think about it. You are living in such a good world. If you live one more day, you'll be happy and grateful. But if you die? How regretful would that be? What is the world? The world. What does the world mean? It means the gong thought the world means that. Got it? The world has no end, no matter how much you go. Time keeps going and has no end. That's the world. How wonderful is it to be born in this good world as a human? If you live well, you could live up to 100 years, but if you live just a little short of that, you may die around the age of 60, which is a little regretful. But originally, the 60th birthday is called Huan Gap because it marks the end of a human's lifespan. Right? It's not just Han Gap. It's Huan Gap. Huan Gap means that the time is over, and you should die and be reborn. Do you know what Han Gap means? The essence of the Gong thought and Maitreya Buddha. So listen carefully to what the Gong thought is. The Gong thought is something you brought with you. When you came into the world from your mother's womb, you appeared in the world anew. That is how life begins. As you live in this world, since your physical body is that of a living being, as time passes, you grow old and eventually reach death. And once you die, that's the end, right? So there is birth and there is death. Birth and death, right? The reason birth and death exist is that one is born and dies, again and again, repeating the cycle. So why is Maitreya Buddha so precious? Because Maitreya Buddha is the one who prevents birth and death. If my explanation left even a slight doubt, then there would be no reason for me to be sitting here. When a person lives and dies, that is the end. There is no samsara. So as you were coming to the temple by car, you must have seen that all the rice in the fields had been harvested and was gone, right? Why is that? Because that cycle of life has come to an end, right? So even Buddha's enlightened light from the sun must be received while you are alive. Receiving it after death is useless. Isn't that right? It's useless. Many of you have traveled from different regions. You came by train, bus, or even by private car. But when you look at the fields along the way, don't they seem desolate? Not long ago, the golden rice fields looked so full. But now they feel empty and lonely, don't they? Life is the same. You live, grow old, and when you die, you disappear like the autumn rice fields. That is life. Who will interdependently arise for you then? That is the end. If you want to see rice again next year, a person must plant rice again. If rice is not planted now, the rice planting for this year will be finished. All the rice planted in the fields of our country will be harvested in autumn and will not exist anymore. That is life, you see. So, if rice is not planted, there will be no rice next year. You must start again. You must start again. But what did I say about the deceased? Interdependent arising does not happen. Oh dear, what should we do? Even if you wait for rice in the field, if there is no one to perform interdependent arising, the rice will not sprout in the field. Do you understand? There is no one to do it. Your souls are the same. A deceased soul is the same size as a ghost in the field. Someone must perform interdependent arising for me to come. How can a ghost do anything? It ends there. Even when people talk about this, they cannot understand the words. Humans have become that stupid, like pigs. Even if I say it in an understandable way, they don't understand. So why do they eat and live? Isn't that right? So, for a person to come back after death, it is harder than plucking a star from the sky. Harder than plucking a star from the sky. So, do you know how precious Maitreya Buddha is? Truly, I'm not boasting about my words. He is the most precious person on earth. Maitreya Buddha has no thorns. Look, do you know why there are thorns and bones in the world? There is nothing with good nature. Watch closely if my words are right or wrong. Animals, plants, or species that have thorns and bones do not have any good nature in this world. They all possess cruelty, ferocity, and fearfulness. That's the point. Is it true? Is it false? You all, go to the sea and look at the fish. Everything that has bones and thorns lives with the mind of killing, of taking life. It's the same with people. If you look at people, they have bones and thorns. Even your teeth. These are not bones, but thorns. Do you know? Teeth are not bones. They're thorns. If you interpret it with enlightened Buddhism, these are thorns. I'm telling you. Thorns. It's scary. You all deceive and ruin things with your mouths. Don't you ruin everything with your mouths? The mouth is a thorn. I'm telling you. The teeth. That's how much humans live with bad habits. That's what I'm saying. So, if I do it, it's genuine. Even if it's fake. If someone else does it, even if it's genuine, it's useless. Fake. Huh? Bad. They put it down like this. Humans. So, humans themselves are useless seeds. I'm telling you. Then, why did Shakyamuni Buddha come to the world and talk about those ghosts? That's what I'm saying. You have to speak frankly. Then, why did he talk about ghosts? The whole world is full of ghosts. If you go to the sky, they talk about all kinds of gods. Next time, I should bring the Avatamsaka Sutra and expose everything. There are all kinds of gods in the sky. That's what I'm saying. Who knows that? Shakyamuni Buddha knew that. Then, what is that person? He served ghosts, and he had a god in his body. Before I performed the Chindo ceremony, he always came here, right? When he came, he had a god in his body. Maitreya Buddha's eyes are not ordinary eyes. So, I knew everything about the accident tonight. The reason to hang individual lanterns at Yongwha temple. You all, look carefully. In the future, countless people, many people will die in the future. Watch carefully, I'm telling you. Countless people will die. You have to come here and hang an individual lantern. Try living without hanging one. See if it is a lie. Then, what effect does an individual lantern have? They say, right, what an individual lantern is. Originally, look, gong is not something that comes as an object like this. You all came to the temple and received one of these. This is not something you receive by putting in effort. I'm telling you, this is receiving karma. Gong is something that becomes karma. I'm telling you. Got it? I came to the temple, put in effort today, and received this. I feel so good. It's not that you feel good, it's bad. Receiving this is receiving karma. Got it? You all have to take enlightenment in your hearts. If you hang an individual lantern, I turn your mind so that you don't go to such places. You don't want to go. Huh? You don't want to go. Oh, even if a friend calls and says, let's go there, and someone calls and coaxes you. I'm not going there. I don't want to go. I'm not going. You shouldn't go where you don't want to go. So, I'm turning your mind. This is the principle of Buddhism, of the Gong thought, of Maitreya Buddha, I'm telling you. Huh? So, the individual lanterns, I did all of that over there, because I have given commandments of Buddhism to all of the individual lanterns. Raise your hand if you hung an individual lantern and something bad happened. Because you go out and do something strange, bad things happen. Otherwise, bad things cannot happen. So, as a person lives, you can't always have only good thoughts, as you live. Huh? But this Gong thought, even if you learn it for thousands of years, you can't learn it all. You die without learning it. So, you all have to learn a lot as far as you can learn. That's what I'm saying. A person learns this when they are alive. A dead person can't learn. How can a dead ghost come and sit and learn? Right? Isn't it? The thought of interdependent arising in rice farming. This year, you harvested the rice in the fall. But if you stand the rice back up, will it stand? You have to harvest it while it's still healthy. If snow and rain come in the fall, and it all falls down, and gets buried in the field, you can't use it. You won't even be able to harvest the rice, right? Then, next year, you can't do anything. How will you farm rice? There's no rice. That's the thought of interdependent arising. This fall, you harvested all the rice, and next year, you have to plant it again for it to grow. That's called the thought of interdependent arising. If you don't arise interdependently, the rice won't grow, right? It won't grow. You have to arise interdependently with Yongwha Maitreya Buddha while you're alive. For the next life to come, right? Wrong? No. They say they go to the 9,000 worlds. Where is the 9,000 worlds? Then they say the 10,000 worlds. Why call it the 9,000 worlds? Do you know what such a person is called? They are called a trickster. A trickster, do you know? A trickster, a person must live honestly. If you lie and wrap something that doesn't exist as if it does, that's called a trickster. Tricksters, you shouldn't be looking at things like that. When I have learned and received enlightenment and the commandments of Buddhism, a person's way of seeing things must change. If it doesn't change, they are just people walking in punishment. People who earn money and succeed, right? See those people, ask them to speak. They are different. Try talking to successful people, ask them to speak, and they are different. Does it seem like a lie? They are different. What they think, what they say, the impression they give off from their face is different. Successful people, even someone selling noodles or pancakes in an alley. There are successful people, right? Look at them. Is it a lie? They are different. The impression a person gives off is different. If you live this life casually and plan to die, isn't that just like living in vain? That's why you come to Yongwha Temple, listen to my sermon, and learn enlightenment to live a good life. Why do you learn? If you've taken the precious time to come, you should listen and learn well. I told you last time. I taught you the thought of interdependent arising clearly last time. There is the sea, right? There is wind. There are waves. I said that. Who knows that? In this world, if other people, if living beings, knew this, would they tell you? They would hide it and not tell you. Think about it. Because there is the sea, waves are created. Without the sea, how could there be waves? If you interpret this through enlightenment, it means that because the holy Maitreya Buddha is in this world, you can die and be reborn in the Yongwha world. Is that right? Not right? If there is no Yongwha Maitreya Buddha, where do you go to receive? Is that right? Not right? Then what is the holy Maitreya Buddha? It's the same as the sea. The sea, is that right? Not right? Isn't that correct? If you have doubts, ask me a question. If you doubt what I say, then ask a question. What I say is correct. When waves rise, there must be water for them to form. How can waves exist without water? Isn't that right? So the waves exist because the sea has water. Isn't that right? Then how do the waves form? The wind must blow for the waves to rise. Isn't that so? Then for that to happen, the sea must have water. If you want to be reborn in your next life, go to the Yongwha world, or live as a spirit. You need Yongwha Maitreya Buddha for that to be possible. If you could do it on your own, you wouldn't need Maitreya Buddha. Am I right or wrong? Look, something exists. The afterlife exists. The land of happiness exists. What does it mean when we say something exists? To say something exists is transient. It is a lie. If I said I put billions of cash into the Yongwha world, so that you could use it after you die, would that make sense? People who go to the temple believing that need to think carefully. They are all out of their minds. Why can't they understand the words? The very idea of existence is transient. To say something exists is meaningless. If I had the time, I would change all the words you use. You are using words that don't make sense. The words you speak themselves. If you look at life closely, it's all the same. Humans always put themselves first before the world. No matter how great Maitreya Buddha is, I come first, and Maitreya Buddha comes after. I can read people's minds, I can see it. No matter how great Maitreya Buddha is, even if he promises to guide me through death and rebirth, I still believe I should come first. Then, if a person with such a mindset, when life and death cycle back and forth, cannot have their life restored without Maitreya Buddha, they cannot return on their own. And yet, even if given that chance, they still put themselves first. So, what is Maitreya Buddha? Is he a person who just does such things and goes around doing such things? Then am I some kind of janitor? To just go around doing cleaning? When I have difficulties, when I'm going through tough times, seeking Maitreya Buddha is wrong. That is the heart of a living being. Because one has the heart of a living being. Bad things keep coming to oneself. You cannot avoid it only at that moment. If a person receives a favor, they should not forget that favor until they die. People often don't do that. I go to Yongwha temple and perform all the Chendo ceremonies for our parents. I have completed all the Chendo ceremonies and received the commandments of Buddhism. So what's the need to go frequently? It's fine not to go. There are many people like this. That is a bad mindset. Interdependent arising continues. A person who has farmed this year will finish by this autumn. There will be nothing next year. You must start anew. People live without understanding the principle of the world. And if I were to have my life forms reincarnated again, I would grab onto the pant legs and not let go until I die. Such people end their lives in this existence. Even if one has received the commandments of Buddhism from a venerable elder, life still ends. Think about it. Go ask the rice. Go to the field and, hey, you have ripened well. You have truly struggled a lot this year. You've worked hard for the rice to harvest well, so you achieved success. This rice deserves to be praised. Just as rice grains are alive, so is the human soul, spirit. When the time comes, the rice plant is destined to die, to fall over. Then, it's not the rice plant that falls over. It's the rice plant's body that produces the rice that falls over. Because it's old, right? Isn't it? The rice is alive. The rice grain. It's not dead. What's dying? The body that produces and supports the rice rots and dies of old age. That's what I'm saying. It's the same with you all. With people, too. When a person dies, the soul, spirit doesn't die. It's the body that dies, right? Isn't it? Because the body dies, the soul, spirit can't be used, right? So, because the body is all old, sick, and unusable, you have to harvest the rice, right? Then, with rice, you only gather all the rice grains and throw away all the straw. Because it's useless. Such things are used for fertilizer or eaten by cows or animals. It's not something people eat. The straw, right? It's the same with humans. Then, the life form of rice is the rice grain. But who will make that arise interdependently? If you don't do it, it ends this year. If a person dies, like harvesting rice, the person ends. They can never come back again. Saying that you go to a good place after death and undergo samsara, those are all swindlers. Swindlers. Because they don't have money, they need to earn some money, and the temple needs some money. They need to earn some money, so bring some money. Then, will the female Buddhists bring money? This monk, what the heck, is he crazy? Is he obsessed with money? Why is he telling me to bring money? That's what they'll say, right? Huh? So, what should you do? You have to use a trick. You all, if you play Go or Jangi, if you don't use a trick, you always lose. You can't win, right? Isn't it? You have to use a trick to win. It's the same. Huh? So, if you tell them to bring money, they won't bring money. So, you have to use a trick. Now, you all, before you die, if you want to go to a good place, the land of perfect bliss, you have to make a spirit tablet and set it up in front of Buddha. Enshrine the spirit tablet. Put a toad on top, put a golden toad, and you'll go to the land of perfect bliss. Ah, what's the point of going to the land of perfect bliss? A ghost is going and sitting there. Even if you don't do that, the land of perfect bliss is teeming with ghosts. There are tens of millions. You can't even count them. Because there are so many. So, if you just tell them to bring money, would you all bring it? They'll call you crazy. Crazy. Hey, you bastard. You became a monk, and you're telling me to bring money? You bastard. That's what they'll say, right? So, now you have to use a trick. If you want to go to the world of Guchen, you all have to put in that much effort. You can only go if you make an offering to Buddha, so bring a certain amount of money. The need for Buddha's enlightened light like rice needs sunlight. Shakyamuni Buddha is also a living being, but where do you take it? Hey, when a person dies and a dead ghost appears, it's all a living being. Do you understand? A dead ghost should not be seen by the living. If a dead ghost is visible to the living, it's because the dead person has become a ghost and is seen. A ghost. So when you die, you must receive rebirth. But how do you receive rebirth? With what skill? I'm giving you such precious teachings. Look, if you plant rice, what good is it? Without the Buddha's enlightened light, it's useless to plant it. Right? Wrong? It's useless. It's not just rice. What good is it for flowers and all things in the world to exist? Without the sun's light, they all disappear. That precious thing is the Buddha's enlightened light. Why can't you understand this? Children understand better. Children, do you understand? With what skill will you be reborn? So even if you visit the temple, your household will always be troubled. Your home will always be bad. So you go to the temple and bow once. When you step inside, you must rely on Shakyamuni Buddha, right? So you rely on Shakyamuni Buddha and say, my household is like this, help me. What can Shakyamuni Buddha help with? The dead don't speak, right? The dead don't speak. That Shakyamuni Buddha was made by humans. Shakyamuni Buddha was made by monks in China. The scripture books were also made by monks in China. What's the use of just speaking? You need to have such objects or writings to read even after death and make people believe in them. The difference between Maitreya Buddha and other Buddhisms. Now listen carefully. What did I say about Maitreya Buddha? Anything invisible, unseen, and unverified is all false and a lie. Pay attention to the existing Buddhism. Can you see it? You can't, right? Even if you want to see it, you can't. They have wrapped up what cannot be verified as if it exists. And that's why you've all been deceived. You must understand what I'm saying. I always teach you good things, and that's why you don't struggle much in life. If Maitreya Buddha leaves the Sabha world, the world will come to an end. Think carefully, am I lying? People are born into this world, so of course, they live. But after living, where do they go when they die? If death means disappearing and becoming a spirit, then what is the point of struggling in life? Wouldn't you just live recklessly? Isn't that right? Why do people from all over the country flock to this city, to Seoul and Gyeonggi? Why is that? Because there is no way to make a living in the countryside. Why? Because as the world develops, everything becomes more expensive, making it impossible for people to live properly. Nowadays, young people hardly cook at home. They all buy food instead because they would rather spend that time making money. They buy meals instead of cooking. And that's why there's no place to earn money in the countryside. Go to the countryside and see for yourself, there's nowhere to earn money. After farmers harvest their rice in the fall, the fields become empty and desolate. Where can they earn money then? Standing there with arms crossed, feeling lost, isn't that right? That's why young people move to Seoul. And that's why Seoul is overcrowded. Overcrowded, right? As people gather, look at this situation. Do you think you can buy an apartment just by earning money? This is not the way humans are meant to live. Who created this situation? The politicians. The politicians made this. The world should be balanced, fair and balanced. Cities and rural areas should be developed equally so that people can live well. But the politicians don't do that. If you think about it, things have gone terribly wrong. People should be sent back to the countryside. Cities are too overcrowded. If people were encouraged to live in the countryside, they wouldn't need to come to Seoul, right? Isn't that so? Because everything has been built in Seoul. Everyone moves to Seoul. That's wrong. Why is that? How are people supposed to live like this? That's why society has become a world of endless competition. Go see in the morning. It's like fire ants moving around performing history. It's amazing. It's not a subway, it's a hell train. The way people move and live is really quite. Politicians are greatly misguided. Their heads are blocked, but those people are truly strange. However, if the population of Seoul decreases, the land and property values they own also drop. Because it drops, they won't do that. Their property decreases. They refuse. So, this is a conspiracy. So, in the way humans live, it can be seen as miserable, right? Thus, the thought of interdependent arising is not like this. Why do rural people come to Seoul to perform interdependent arising? They should perform it there, right? If they create income opportunities in the countryside, they can earn money there. Why come up here to such a complicated place? Try to go out driving your cars. When building a house, the road should be laid out first and prepared. They build the house first without making the road. So, if there are no roads, you cannot go. Why is that? Shouldn't they build the road first before constructing a house? These people do not do that. They just demand permission to build houses unconditionally. Those people are strange. For the world to live equally, everyone must live well the same way. Whether in the countryside or the city, only then can we live in a better world and pass on, right? If everyone gathers only in Seoul, there is a problem with that. Isn't that right? Look at Seoul. You cannot imagine how many apartments there are. When you go out here, there are mountains and fields. There is no place left unbuilt. They build everything on the mountains. What is that about? These famous mountains are hidden, and you can hardly see the mountains now, because they have built high-rise apartments. Because the world is made like this, in future generations, humans will greatly decrease. Later, look carefully. It's not a lie. Humans will continue to decrease in the future. They will not increase. Continuing down. Now, if you go about 40 to 50 years, 100 years, our country's population, it's 50 million, right? It won't even be 20 million. They'll sweep them all away. Then, what will you do with all these apartments that have been built so much when that time comes? They're a nuisance. They're a nuisance. You can't even tear them down. You can go to a detached house and tear it down. But how do you tear that down? The tall ones? Do you know? Does it sound like a lie? It's certain. We live in such a good world, and we live a good life, When you get old and age, where do you go now? You shouldn't reincarnate right away. You all don't know. That's why. You have to go to the Yongwha world and live there, for about 100 years, about 200 years. Live well, and then come back through reincarnation. What's the point of reincarnating now? The whole world is full of smoke. The roads are blocked. It's hard to live. Apartments are expensive. How can you live? Go to the Yongwha world and live comfortably for about 200 to 300 years. Live comfortably, and when the situation is much better and it's a beautiful world, if you come, your lifespan won't be as short as it is now. It's long. Do you know why? You don't know, right? The body you have now was received from living beings. Living beings. Your fathers, mothers are living beings, right? Because it's a body received from living beings, the lifespan is short. But if you take this off and receive commandments of Buddhism from Maitreya Buddha, and come back reincarnated again with Buddha's enlightened light, that body's lifespan is incredibly long. No. Is what I'm saying right? Is it wrong? Think about it. Isn't it right? These guys are listening and cursing me now. Monks. Oh, you bad guys. There's a guy cursing now. No. You all? Think scientifically. I'm currently living now, right? I'm alive, and your bodies are now living beings' bodies, right? Who made them? Your father, your mother made them, right? Father, mother are also living beings. Your bodies are also living beings' bodies, right? You have a living being's body, so even if you die, you're just a living being, right? Then, well, now you take this off and die. That's what I'm saying. While living, if you die, still, you came to Yongwha temple, came to Maitreya Buddha, and I gave you commandments of Buddhism. You know that there is light in your bodies now, right? It's sparkling. Even if I look from here, I know it all. I know whether you received commandments of Buddhism or not. People who haven't received it don't sparkle, but people who have received commandments of Buddhism, all of them, with me, the light goes back and forth, so I can see the light sparkling. People who have received commandments of Buddhism have Buddha's enlightened light in their bodies, right? That's because they die anew and come anew, so the body is different. That body, right? Isn't it? So, don't be hasty and rush to come right after you die. Die slowly and live for about 200 to 300 years. In the Yongwha world, live comfortably and enjoy yourself, and then, shall we go and try going again? And then, if you come back reincarnated, that body is already changed. So, when you come then, that body, the world has changed, and it's completely the opposite of the world now. Then, you can live for 300 years, 500 years, that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, it's not a lie. You all think about it. Is what I'm saying right? Is it wrong? Think about it. It's certain, right? So, people who received commandments of Buddhism, came to the temple, listened to the sermon, and studied. Don't try to come quickly after death. Come slowly. Even if you come slowly, it's not busy. If you say you'll come after about 200 years, the light doesn't disappear and remains as it is. Receiving the commandments and improving in this life. Will the light disappear? Light is the gone thought, so it never disappears. Therefore, don't try to come immediately after death. Come slowly. Slowly. Live for a few hundred years slowly, then come. Now, those who have received many commandments, studied a lot, and have high spiritual power, will live like a noble when they return to the Sabha world after death. They go to a good place. Look at this. Go to the field and look at the stones. Stones are different in their own way. The stones that come out beautifully are used to build walls, towers, and are used well. But the twisted, unusable stones, do they have any use? It's the same with life. Even trees are like that. Good trees are cut down to build houses and used as timber. What uses a crooked, twisted tree? It can only be used for firewood or making fires, right? Right? Isn't that true? The reason you come to the temple is because of this meaning. By attending the temple for a long time, studying, and learning a lati am the best disciple. The best disciple. If I learn a lot and practice a lot, I will return as a good person in the next life. Do you understand? Isn't what I'm saying correct? Think about it. I don't speak lies. So why are you listening to unnecessary nonsense? People sniffling and saying, why are you laughing? Did I say something wrong? What's the use of listening to such nonsense? I am Maitreya Buddha, a very interesting person. I've already experienced a long time with all of you. Do I have any selfish desires? I have none. I don't discriminate. I treat everyone equally. Just because I learned a lot and am smart doesn't mean I look down on those below me. How could I look down on a beggar and say, get out of here, you bastard? Would I buy them food? No, I wouldn't. If you discriminate against people, you can't use them. You must think of everyone as precious, right? If they are uneducated, poor, or wear simple, shabby clothes, many people will look down on them. But that's useless. You must always think of people as precious. What is prayer? Prayer, everyone. Oh, everyone, let's pray at school. Let's pray. Pray diligently. When you go to the temple, prayer is insufficient. Pray. What does prayer mean? Prayer, it's the prayer that causes things to happen. If you work hard, good things will happen and come. That's what prayer is, right? But what happens? What happens? Really? Why are you sitting there eating? You could just pray. People are foolish like pigs. No. Why eat? You could just pray. Why go to make money? When you wake up in the morning, just pray. If you pray, money will slip in by evening, right? If you pray all night, money will come in the morning. If you pray during the day, money will come by evening. Why go to make money? Just pray, right? Why send children to school once they grow up? You could just make them pray at home. Pray harder, child. Why waste time playing after eating? Just make them pray, right? Think about it. When you get married and have children, you send them to school. But why do you make them study? You educate them so they can open their eyes and attain enlightenment. Why send them to school? You could just make them pray at home. Hey, pray. People are that foolish, right? What is studying? Studying is enlightenment. right? There are teachers and students. What does that mean? The student and the teacher interdependently arise. Interdependently arise. How can you teach without a teacher? Who would the student learn from? That is the thought of interdependent arising. Because there is a teacher, there is a student. The student learns from the teacher. That is the thought of interdependent arising. If you ignore that, then why go to school? You could just pray at home. And when you go to a temple, there are Buddha statues enshrined. What is a Buddha statue in itself? It is transient. What is it? It's a scarecrow. If you are told to pray and beg in front of it, then the person praying and the Buddha statue sitting there like a scarecrow are the same, aren't they? Isn't that so? Why sit there and beg in front of it? To a scarecrow, that's a scarecrow. A Buddha statue should at least be like this. Is that right or not? This Buddha statue, after I gave commandments of Buddhism, it even blinked its eyes. It even spoke. It's unbelievable. You all saw it with your own eyes. If such a Buddha statue is no different from a scarecrow, imagine how great it would be for real, living people to receive commandments of Buddhism from me. If even a statue could blink and speak after receiving them. Humans are that foolish. That's what I'm saying. No. If a statue of Buddha is this, what is it? It's nothing, right? It's the same as a scarecrow. A scarecrow, a mannequin. This also does not blink or speak because it has received the commandments of Buddhism from me. It means it is remarkably alive. Then, just imagine how great it would be if I could give commandments to a living person. Just try to imagine that. Isn't that right? Even if the mouth is torn, one should speak the truth. Do not lie. What is the desire of a human being? It's not coming back after death. Humans come to earn money. Then, when the baby in the mother's womb is about to come out, it doesn't want to come out easily. It hesitates. Hey, there's money here. Come out quickly. Then it comes out quickly. Look at the money. So, the parents, mother and father, are originally living beings. Because the living beings gave birth to children thus, the child is also a living being. Isn't that so? Right? The child is also a living being. So, how can one avoid being a living being? One must receive the commandments of Buddhism. Only then can even a statue that looks like a mannequin blink, speak, and move its mouth. To be able to speak, one must receive the commandments, right? They must. Ah, my words are right, aren't they? So, Buddha's enlightened light is that precious. That's what I mean. Do you understand? Everyone, I previously gave you a topic for contemplation. How can you see the moon at night? It must be dark to see the moon. Can you see the moon during the day? You can't, right? Why can't you see it? It's because the light obscures the moon, right? To see that, it must be dark. Isn't that right? It must be dark to see the moon. Why is that? It's an important statement. Think about it for a moment. Why can you only see the moon at night? I gave you a topic before, but you haven't contemplated it, right? Contemplate it. Next time, on Sunday, okay? But why does the sun go over and not show up in the evening? If it just stays still, it should be fine, but it's difficult, right? It's challenging. If you want to learn this enlightened Dharma, the path is very far. It's far. It's far. If I just sit you all down and talk seriously, you all won't have any fun. If you have to sit and listen to that. So, I use a little humor to make it enjoyable and to put it in your heads. That's why I make it fun. Otherwise, you all would find it difficult to sit and listen. You don't understand. It's difficult. You don't even know what this is. And when you think about it when you go home, what did Buddha say? I can't even remember. Really? This is just killing me. I can't even remember. That's what you'll say, right? So that at least one thing will be remembered in your heads, I use analogies, and put it in a fun way. Giving a sermon is not easy. Do you think it's easy? Try it once, if you're confident. You all like money, right? Money is good, right? Money is good. Why? Because living beings need money to live their lives, until the day they die. Huh? They need it, that's what I'm saying. But you have to earn this money, right? No one gives it to you for free. So, you have to earn money, but this money is not easy to earn. More than it looks. It's quite difficult, that's what I'm saying. Earning money, right? But if you ask someone to give it to you, there's no one who will give it to you. I'm trying to earn money, but really, this money is not easy to earn. I'm telling you. I'm trying to start a business, but I don't have money. I'm trying to do business, but I don't have capital. This is really, all I have is my body. Taking this and going out to earn money, really, it's not an ordinary difficulty, right? It's difficult, that's what I'm saying. Even if you have money, you can't earn money easily. Even if I have capital and seed money, it's hard to earn money. If you do it wrong, you won't succeed and you'll just lose it. Got it? How difficult it is to earn money. Then, how do you earn money? There is a way to earn money, right? There is a way to earn money. What is the way? You have to know what the other person wants. Number 1, what the other person wants. Got it? I can't do business alone. There have to be people to buy. What can I do alone? Right? Isn't it? There are many people. That's what I'm saying. What do those people want? That's what I'm saying. What they want. There are hundreds of people like this. What do those people want? That's what I'm saying. You have to know that. You have to know that to be able to succeed. That's what I'm saying. If you don't know that, you can't succeed. What I'm saying is right? That's the way to earn money. Do you understand? You have to know what the other person wants. If you know this, I succeed. Success. This is fun. You all, when business is good, you're not even hungry. It's fun, right? You know, like in a restaurant. A restaurant, when people push and squeeze in, it's not stressful but fun. It's not hard because it's busy. It's fun. Hey, this is amazing, right? You don't even realize you're hungry. Even if you work all day, it's still fun, right? To get to that point, you need to know what the other person wants. This is the key to success. This is a hot dog. But when I went to buy a hot dog, I saw that the lady had already made it. So I tried one. But it's not the hot dog I wanted. It's still a hot dog. But, right? Then that's it. I don't go to that place anymore. Never again. Would you go? Even if they give it for free, you won't go. So, you need to know what the other person wants. After trying one, you feel that just one hot dog isn't enough. You need 2 or 3 to feel a little better. Why? Because it's delicious. This is the key to success. This person is already on the path to success. Who would buy it if it tastes bad? Who would go and buy it? You see, nowadays, when people quit their jobs, they often open restaurants because it seems easy. But it's not even 1% successful. Not even 1%. If you just follow what others are doing, it's 100% failure. You won't succeed. Even if you look at Anyang, many restaurants have closed. Go to Anyang, the restaurants have disappeared. Why did they disappear? Because restaurants don't work. They started with failure in mind. From the start, that's why they fail. When you start doing something, you have to start with confidence saying, I will succeed. But those people don't think that way. So, you all go out once. Restaurants are rare. Go out to downtown Anyang once. There aren't many places to eat. Because they're not doing well, they all withdrew. Why aren't they doing well? They're running the restaurant itself in a way that it won't do well. Honestly, it's a waste of money. If you go there, and when you eat, you should have a satisfied feeling, right? Even after you finish eating, you don't feel satisfied, and you feel disappointed. So, did I eat this or did I not eat it? That's what you say. Then, those people, to put it nicely, can't earn money. And to put it badly, they're people who will go to hell when they die. Why? Because if a customer comes and you sell a meal for 5,000 won or 10,000 won, the customer should be satisfied. But that's not how it is. As I go around, I see that restaurant owners say that vegetable prices are high these days. And no matter how expensive red pepper powder is, if a customer pays 10,000 won for a meal, then the side dishes and everything belong to the customer. Isn't that right? If the customer leaves leftovers, they should be thrown away because they were bought with money. But instead of throwing them away, They keep them and serve them again when another customer comes. I have seen this countless times. Since my clairvoyance is open, I can immediately tell just by looking. Right there on the spot. I can recognize it instantly. It doesn't even take a second. Whether they are serving leftover side dishes from previous customers or preparing fresh ones. I can tell right away just by looking. When I see it, most of them serve leftovers. Aren't they bad people? Why? Especially with COVID around and how dangerous the world is these days. Would they serve leftovers from someone else? They are bad people. What do they hope to achieve by making money like that? Restaurant owners might not like hearing this, but they need to change their ways. No matter how high prices are and how hard life is, they shouldn't do such things. Isn't that right? How dangerous is COVID these days? If you catch it once, it's a big problem. You could even die if things go wrong. Making money isn't difficult. You just need to know what the other person wants. That's a guaranteed way to succeed. Now, let's talk about noodle vendors. If you just serve noodles soaked in water, is that all there is to it? Right? That's easy, isn't it? But people won't even eat such noodles. And these days, the world has changed, so if you serve noodles soaked in water, people won't eat such poor quality food anymore. At the very least, you have to serve something delicious for people to like it. It's not a boast, but I always succeed 100% in whatever I do. This temple, if I didn't run this temple and instead did business, I could make a fortune. It's no lie. If I did business, hundreds of people would line up every day. I never attended a Korean medicine university or a medical school. I have never even set foot near a medical school. Yet, when it comes to healing diseases, I am the #1 in the world. Do you understand? If I can heal a blind person to the point where they can see, then isn't that being #1 in the world? If monks curse at me and insult me, they are worse than dogs. How else do you save living beings? Making a blind person see, that is saving living beings. Then what else is saving living beings? Isn't that right? Buddha came to save living beings. Otherwise, why did he come? Did he come to beg for food? Or did he come to tell lies and swindle money? Isn't that right? Saving living beings isn't something you do inside a temple. It's something you do by going out into the world. Isn't that right? The story of Maitreya Buddha, the steel president. I went out, from my youth, I used to say this. I am the president of steel. I am a master when it comes to iron. So, when I make money, do others think that all steel factories make money? There are countless places that close down due to failing. I can make an immense amount of money. In a day, there were rice sacks measured in gamanis back in the day. In the past, there were no checks or cards. Back then, right? Where were cards in the past? There were no checks back then. In the past, everything was cash. Bring it in cash. If I filled it in a day, I'd have that much in a sack. I would fill 50 to 60 sacks with money daily. I often hear monks cursing me and saying all sorts of things. When I see those people, they are truly worth less than worms. They should come to learn from me. In the past, our country didn't have steel mills. Nowadays, we have many steel factories like Incheon Steel, Gangwon Industrial, and Hanbo. There were no steel mills back then. When there were none, you would find scrap metal lying around on the streets. No one picks it up. What's the use of picking it up? There's no place to sell it. So, scrap metal piles up in places like pipe factories. When it comes from steel mills, they cannot deal with it. It's piled up like a mountain. I won't name the companies, but when cutting a steel plate, it produces what is called side or script in English. When this comes out, there's nowhere to dispose of it. It's like a mountain of scrap. Seeing all this, I realized something. I just developed it. People buy raw materials, but I bring them in and get paid for it. I get paid for it. They cannot deal with it, so I bring it and get paid. I developed this scrap metal. Then, if they bring it by car, by truckload, I get paid to take it. You have to pay money to buy the raw materials. I get paid to bring them. I'm telling you, I get paid a lot. I get paid and I bring this in. So, I'm using this as raw material now. It was really amazing. I developed this and patented it. Because I patented it, many people came and saw it and were amazed, but they couldn't use it. No one can do it but me. Because I patented it. Like this, I put the money in sacks, just in a car, tens of sacks, every day. The monks say this and that about me. Do you think that head is a human head? It's not a human head. Maybe if it's used for stealing. The head that a human uses to live with enlightenment. Those are all heads that can't even be used. That kind of head. It's because you're misjudging me. It's because you're misjudging me. Like this, I just took that product and just ran a factory. So the money. Because there's no cost for raw materials. Because we get paid to bring in the raw materials. How much money do you think I made? You just have to pay the labor costs of the technicians working in the factory. And the electricity bill. Huh? So, do you know how many bonuses I give a year? I give 6. 6. I give it 6 times a year. 6 times. I have a lot of money. What's the point of saving that little bit? You have to give generously. I gave 6 bonuses. Every year. 6 times. I give it once every 2 months. Why? Does it sound like a lie? So, I made a huge amount of money with the factory. And what did I do? If I had saved it, I would be richer than Samsung and Hyundai now. I'd be thousands of times richer. Then, I used it all of it, on the poor beggars, the homeless beggars. Just, every day, I bought them food, bought them clothes, bought them shoes, bought them underwear. And if they were sick, I bought them medicine. I spent all that money. To such a person, if you curse Maitreya Buddha, tell him to die quickly, and tell him to put down his spoon. Do those people seem like human beings? If I have something good, I don't have greed. Why do I need to have everything? I have to give to others, too. I developed countless things and gave them to people who were living in difficulty. People who were struggling with factories, pitiful people. I gave them countless things. I'm telling you, take this and make money, I said. Because I don't talk about it. But when I was really in business and at my peak, do you think I would see the monks in the temple as human beings? All the successful businessmen in our country came to me, bowed, and always came to seek advice. So, in the old days, a manager at a large corporation received a monthly salary of 300,000 won, 320,000 won, 350,000 won. In the old days, a manager at a large corporation, when that manager received that much monthly salary, I gave many corporate lectures, and when they came to receive corporate lectures, you can't teach them for free, right? You should receive a lecture fee, right? That's how people learn well. If you teach for free, people will just let it slip away. How much did you charge? 500,000 won for one lecture. That's a lot of money by today's standards. But soon, I won't do it. Even if it's just a small group, there should be at least 500 or 1,000 people. Otherwise, I won't do it. Why do it if there are just a few people sitting there? So, countless people have listened to those lectures, made money, and succeeded. I won't mention names. If I said I would run this temple, they would follow me. But they don't know. Money is in my head. It's in everyone's head. But people can't use it, so they can't make money. Why can't they use it? Because they put greed in front and start with it. If you do that, you won't succeed. What's difficult about it? And when customers come, you give them something and say, eat. You just give it and then go play somewhere else. You can't do that. The secret of success, as told by Maitreya Buddha, you must always observe whether customers are eating well and enjoying their meal. If there are various dishes, you need to see what the customers eat the most. You should notice which side dishes they prefer and which ones they eat the most. Then you realize, oh, the customers like this side dish. I like this one, but the customers prefer that one. You must understand this. If I like one thing but the customers prefer something else, would they eat what I like? They won't eat it. They won't even look at it. You have to understand what the other person wants. That's how you succeed. You learned something valuable, right? Go to the temple, sniffling and blowing your nose, and just sit there praying. Why would you sit and listen to that in the temple? Looking at all of you now, what do you think? Last time, my mouth hurt, so I couldn't even speak properly. But even though I'm old, don't I still have energy? If I quit this and started a business now, I would dominate the market. The only reason I'm not doing it is because I choose not to. So, when I was running a temple in Suwon, I seriously considered going to a Korean medicine university multiple times. Should I have gone to medical school? If I had graduated, honestly, it's not a boast, but I would have made a fortune. Because I'm exceptionally good at treating people. Do you know why I'm good at it? Not going to medical school was the only failure of my life. If I had studied Korean medicine, when I inserted an acupuncture needle, Buddha's enlightened light would have flowed through it. That would have been the end of it, right? Isn't that so? Now that I'm this old, would I still go to medical school? That's why I just want to do good things and open the path for your lives. So, since I can't go to medical school anymore, I tell others to go. There's one person here, a young woman who graduated from a Korean medicine university in the temple. I am planning to support her well. If things go well, she will achieve something big in the future. But we'll have to see. People should do good things in life. Good deeds. But to do good things, don't you need to understand something first? You need money to do good things. What good is it to just talk? You cannot do good deeds just by talking. How can you do good deeds just by talking? So, I need skills and make a lot of money to do good deeds. Do you understand? Did you learn something good today? So, I gave you a topic for contemplation. How can the moon only be seen at night, and why can't it be seen during the day? There are many people watching my YouTube right now. Many are watching both YouTube and the live broadcast. But why can the moon only be seen at night? And why can't it be seen during the daytime? I gave you this as a topic for contemplation, so think about it, right? Think it through and don't just answer with words. Why can the moon be seen at night, but not during the day? The moon cannot be seen during the day, even if you want to see it. You all came well to Yongwha Temple. It's not boasting you came well. It's good to come, and also at home, you should frequently do recitation of Holy Maitreya Buddha. You can do it whenever you have free time, okay? Every time you recite Holy Maitreya Buddha, it reminds you of Maitreya Buddha and becomes visible to you. And live your life without constantly being greedy. If you are too greedy and try to do more, there will be times when you suffer losses. It doesn't work well if you are too greedy. Greed itself is karma, isn't it? It is not good, so you should be moderately greedy, okay? And first of all, you need to be healthy, and you learned a lot today, right? What time is it now? Oh my, how long has it been since I started the sermon? An hour and a half? Is that enough? Religion doesn't help much in life. Religion, that is. Why is that? You have to listen carefully to what I'm saying. Originally, religion doesn't help much in living life. Just because you went to the temple doesn't mean you won't sin. Is there anyone who doesn't sin just because they went to church? They lie even better. Lies. You all, look, when you go to the temple, you are Buddha, so why are you waiting for and thinking about Buddha? They say, the monks, why do they call people Buddha? Then, they say Shakyamuni Buddha is Buddha, but if they call everyone Buddha, why would people pray to Shakyamuni Buddha? They can just do it alone at home. Right? There is a Buddha inside me. Buddha is sitting inside your stomach. But what Buddha are you waiting for and praying to? There's a Buddha inside you. They say, people, really? Shakyamuni Buddha is one person. But there are many disciples who believe in Shakyamuni Buddha, right? There are tens of thousands, but if you look at what they say, it's all different. All different. This monk says this, and that monk says that. It's all different. Then, which words are right? There are no right words, right? There are no right words, because it's all different. Then, people also interpret it as they please, right? But if you listen carefully, you all don't know well, that's why. If you listen carefully, it's pure nonsense. Look carefully, I'm telling you. So, because you see it with the eyes of living beings, it looks good and similar. But if you look at it with enlightened eyes, it all comes out 100%. So, if you just look, you know, this is pure nonsense. It's nonsense. Believe in someone. Huh? Your prayer is weak. Your prayer must be strong. Very strong. Huh? Your prayer is weak. Your faith is weak. Huh? No. What kind of faith is weak? Are you going to build a house there? On top of faith. Do you know what faith is? Faith. Putting down the foundation stone to build a house. That's called faith. Faith. I only trust you. I'm building a house here. Hold it up well and strong. Because I have to build a house well there. You put down a foundation stone, right? Foundation stone. You have to ask the foundation stone. I only trust you. Because I have to build a house there. You hold it up well. The pillar. Then, what would the foundation stone say? Don't worry. I'll hold it up well. Don't worry. No, right? So, all those things have no basis and they use strange, trickster-like words. So, bring a certain amount of money. If you want to go to heaven, you have to offer a certain amount of money. They say, what money do you have to offer to go to heaven? Right? Isn't it? Why do you have to offer money to go to heaven? Who do you offer the money to? You shouldn't offer it to a monk. He's a gatekeeper. A gatekeeper. Pastors are also gatekeepers. Monks are also gatekeepers. Why do you give money to a gatekeeper? Right? Isn't it? I've been to the temple a lot. When you go to the temple often, you see the head monks or big monks, right? And when you look at them, their behavior is just terrible. It's terrible. Bodhisattvas come to the temple, right? They go to the temple diligently, work hard at the temple, and what else do? They sing at the temple, and there's a choir, right? The choir sings, right? But when you look closely, monks speak very rudely to the faithful. I've seen it a lot. When you go to the temple, you can't even get proper respect. Why would you go there and listen to those monks talking like that? What is a monk? In church, they're like a priest. A priest. Do you know what a priest is? A priest is called a servant of God. Look at this. When you say noble, it's the Jeonju Yi family, the Kim Hae Kim family, right? The Miryong Park family, the Sangyong Choi family. These are called the nobility, right? When you go to their family line, there's a shrine keeper's house. A shrine keeper's house. They build a shrine. They maintain the shrine and farm to offer the ancestors rituals, right? You've seen them honor the rituals, right? Who performs the ritual? Isn't it the person working at the shrine keeper's house? What do we call that person? We call them the shrine keeper, right? A shrine keeper. If you interpret the shrine keeper in religious terms, they're like a priest. Do you understand? A priest. So, Christianity's doctrine has clearly defined this. What has it clearly defined? The pastor is the servant of God. The servant is the priest. So, if you interpret it correctly, the servant of God cannot become a child of God. Listen carefully. A servant of God cannot become a child of God. Then, all the believers who follow God can go to heaven after they die. But pastors are said to have already achieved heaven while alive. Do you know why? The believers go out into society, work hard, and earn money. Then they bring their money and offerings before God with sincerity. However, the pastor does not go out and earn money himself. The believers provide for him, and that is how he lives. That is why they say the pastor has achieved heaven while alive. And that is why it is said that when a pastor dies, he goes to hell. Do you understand? It is the same for monks, only the name is different. Monks also achieve the land of happiness while they are alive. Do you understand? Go to a monk and see. Have you ever seen them working? They sit drinking fine tea, dressed in clean clothes, and if a fly lands on them, they simply flick it away. The faithful dress neatly, and if you go to a large temple, you cannot wear just anything. They wear beautiful, clean hanbok, and put pretty hairpins in their hair. They prepare tea elegantly and serve it like this. Even the way to pour tea is taught. Monks teach it, guiding how to pour the tea properly with a graceful gesture. After pouring it like that and setting it down. Think about it, Shakyamuni Buddha never once received such treatment in his life before he passed away. Yet, they offer tea in this way. They prepare everything with sweets and place it before them, saying, "Please have some." That is how monks achieve the land of happiness while they are alive. Do you understand? But what happens when they die? When they die, they go to hell. Do you understand? The thought of interdependent arising is like treatment. You learned something good, right? So, the principles of the world are all out there. The principles. Life is all flowing like that. Treatment is not something you originally receive. If I receive treatment, I have to receive it from the other person, right? That's owing me a favor, right? Isn't it? They're owing a favor. Why would you receive such treatment from others? Without a reason. That monk can't give you blessings, and they don't have the ability to send you to a good place after death, and they don't have the ability to perform the Chindo ceremony for the ancestors of the faithful. Isn't it wrong for a person who has no ability to do anything to receive such treatment? The thought of interdependent arising is always giving and receiving. If Buddha received even a glass of water from a living being, Buddha should have the ability to protect the living being. Even a cup of water, you shouldn't receive it without a reason. I'm telling you, what is receiving? Isn't it owing a favor to the other person? Why would you owe a favor? Without any reason, right? I came to the temple and I've never received such treatment. Coming to my side and pouring tea. Here you go, eat. There is no animal as cunning as a human. Their ancestors, parents, all died, and became beggars, became ghosts, and are wandering around naked. And I gathered all those ghosts wandering around scattered and performed the Chindo ceremony, and sent them all to a good place, but they don't know that grace, and if they feel a little upset and bad, they treat Maitreya Buddha rudely, and they crawl into their houses and don't even come. Humans are like that. Do you think that's human? There are countless of them. If you look, why do they do that? Sometimes, when I look, I feel very disappointed often. Why am I saying this? Even if they bring tea to a real, original Buddha, there's no sincerity. They just put it down like this and leave. They put it down and leave. I'm telling you. What does that mean? It means, do whatever you want, whether you eat it or not, right? Isn't it? No. If you brought tea, shouldn't you say, "I brought tea. Buddha, please have some tea?" ? Shouldn't you say that? Right? Isn't it? But they just put it down and leave. Do whatever you want, or if I put it a little badly, do whatever you want and stuff your face. Isn't that what it means? That doesn't make sense. Why don't you think about your own mistakes? And why do you only bring up the other person's disappointment? I'm not just a little disappointed. I don't say anything. But, that's not right, Try doing that to your teacher at school. The teacher is a precious teacher who guides me. That's why they said you shouldn't even step on the teacher's shadow. That's human courtesy. Well, if a precious Buddha came to the temple, if you bring tea, you should say, "I brought tea, so please drink it," or something. Or, "I have brought tea." Shouldn't you say something? But they just put it down and leave, without a word. Then, it's like telling me to do whatever I want, or to put it badly, do whatever I want and stuff my face. Isn't that what it means? They're worse than dogs. Am I right? Am I wrong? When a guest comes, if you bring them food, you should say, "Please enjoy your meal." You bring the food and say, "Do whatever you want and stuff your face. Do whatever you want." Then what is that? What is that? Do you think that's a human being? They're worse than animals. Animals. The other day, I was watching TV, and a grandmother fell down in a rice field while walking on the road. There was rice, and next to the rice, the grandmother was lying down like this. But she had a dog, and the dog followed her. The grandmother, it followed her, and the dog kept barking next to the grandmother, telling her to get up. It barked, but the grandmother couldn't get up. Someone filmed that. What do you all think? If a person behaves badly and their conduct is not good, aren't they worse than a dog? Isn't it worse than a dog? Think about it. If someone's ancestor became a ghost, how dirty must their life have been? For them to become a ghost, they were all brought, washed, cleansed with Buddha's enlightened light, sent to a better place, reborn, and even sent to the Yongwha world. But they throw away all the gratitude towards Buddha into the trash. There are many people who act like that. What do you think about it? I didn't come to Yongwha temple to receive respect. Why would I come all the way here to be respected? I came here to clean up the trash, not to receive respect. Is what I'm saying correct? Wrong? If you understand one thing, you should understand everything. Do you think Buddha is so close-minded and unable to understand what is being said? Buddha, who sees 1,000 miles ahead and can foresee thousands of years into the future. If you act like that towards Buddha, then you are not even human. Even a dog, when the grandmother went to the field and saw the rice stalks fallen, the dog kept barking because she wouldn't get up. The dog thought, if it barked, she would get up. But the grandmother didn't get up. So the family, when she didn't return, went to search for her, and after searching everywhere, they found her lying down. It was the dog's barking that led them to find her. They filmed it because the dog barked. They uploaded it as it was. So, humans have heads and rule the world. But if a human acts improperly, it's worse than a dog or beast. Is that right? Is that not right? I'm not bragging, but even if I die tomorrow, I won't owe you a single thing. And I will never do anything like that to you. The Buddhists, praise is not something you do because someone tells you to. It's when it comes from your heart that you receive praise. Isn't that so? Where does praise come from? When someone tells you to do it, it's not praise. Praise and filial piety come when it arises from your heart. Do you know how bad my father was back then? My father? He was an extremely bad-tempered person. He had a lot of kindness, but kindness must come without a bad temper to be true kindness. If one loses their temper, they become like a runaway train without direction. Wherever I went as a child, people adored me, because I had a good nature and a beautiful face. There was no one who disliked me. So whenever I went somewhere, people would often give me food. And when they handed me something, I would hold onto it tightly and take it home. I never ate it, not even a single piece of candy. I would hold it and bring it home to give to my father. I absolutely never ate anything myself. No matter what I was given, I would hold it in my hand and bring it home to give to my father. Then he would ask, "What is this?" And I would answer, "Someone gave it to me on my way home." At that moment, shouldn't he have said, "Why did you bring it? You should have eaten it yourself?" Not a chance. He would just take it. If I didn't quickly take something first, he would eat it himself. Shouldn't valuing one's child come from the heart? Right? But since my father was also a living being, he only thought of himself. Only himself. When a precious child brings something for him, shouldn't he say, "Why didn't you try it? Why did you carry it all the way here?" But he never did. I was about 11 or 12, maybe 15 or 16 years old back then. At that time, my father went to the market to sell a cow, and I went with him. He told me to come along, so I had no choice but to follow. But you can't put a cow on a bus, right? Since we couldn't load it onto the bus, we had to walk. We walked all the way to the market, and I realized my father was extremely sharp-minded. From what I could see, he had an incredibly high IQ. So, it's hard to keep up. Their IQ was very high. If I look at it like this, their IQ would be 280. You can't imagine how high their IQ is. So, the cattle dealer at the market all fall for my father. For his words, that's how exceptionally good their IQ was. So, he sells cows well, amazingly, and then he buys there again. He buys, and when he buys cows cheaply again. He somehow strangely finds fault with them and buys them cheaply. He finds fault with the cows, because he finds fault. If you're not careful, you can't sell the cow. Give it to me. When he buys cows, I saw a lot there. He doesn't buy cows early, even if he buys, because it becomes the end of the market, the end of the market. When it gets to be evening, the market closes, right? This is when he buys cows. It was extraordinary. You can't take the cow back. they've already come out to sell the cow, right? Then, that cow, the owner and the cow, have lost a lot of affection, right? Isn't it? Because it's a cow that came out to be sold. Therefore, the thought of taking the cow back is less than 10%. He targets this time. So, he says, the cow is not good here and there, and it's not good there. Even if you raise this cow, it won't help you. Sell the cow to me. I'll give you this much. A cow that would sell for about 1.5 million won. When it gets to be evening, it doesn't even go for 1.2 million. It doesn't even go for 1.2 million won. He finds fault with the cows like this, and then he buys the cows. I followed him once when he was buying, and he told me, when you go to the market, there's that, rice soup. He bought me a bowl of pork and rice soup. I ate that, and he said, do you want a glass of makgeolli? And he bought me a glass of makgeolli. I don't normally drink alcohol. So, I drank a little. I drank a little and then I stopped. And then, now, we came out, and he drove the cow and, now, came out. He came out and said, I'm going to take the bus. I'll take the bus, so you bring the cow. The distance is, how many ri is it? It's 50 ri. 50 ri. It felt like a dream to walk 50 ri. The sun was setting in the west, because we bought the cow in the evening. The sun was setting in the west, and he told me to bring it. If I nagged, I might get hit again, so I couldn't say anything and said, okay. So, my father took the bus and went, whoosh. So, now, my father was young then, too, right? So, there's about a 23-year difference between us. A 23-year difference. I was 16 years old then, so how old was he? 39? If he's 39, he's a strong man. He was only about 40 years old, and he took the bus and left. He told me, now, to bring the cow. I was driving the cow, but the cow doesn't go fast. Because, all day long at the market, it was harassed by the cattle dealers. So the cow was tired and wouldn't walk. It walked slowly, and, after walking about 4 kilometers, it was too dark to go. But I had to cross a big hill. I had to cross that hill. But it was raining so much, I couldn't see in front of me. But cows are originally very scared. Cows, when it gets dark, cows get scared and don't even make a sound. In the old days, they used to hang bells on cows' ears, right? Chayong chayong. When it gets dark, they don't make a sound. Absolutely no sound. At night, it only makes sound during the day. You heard it for the first time, right? At night, they don't make a sound. The sound of the bell hanging on their ear. So, it's going very, very slowly. That big cow. But, I was crossing that hill, crossing a big hill, and it was raining so much, the cow wouldn't go. So, if I crossed the hill, my aunt lived there. She lived there, and I was hungry and it was raining a lot. So, I wanted to go in there, get dinner, sleep there at night, and come in the morning, which would have been nice. At that time, there were no phones, no cell phones, so, if I didn't go at night, there would be a big fuss, right? At home. So, I couldn't go to my aunt's house and kept walking. And I arrived at 2 in the morning. When I got there, he got angry at me for being late. And he got angry, saying, you punk, what were you doing on the way here? He doesn't speak nicely. You punk, what were you doing on the way here that you came so late? Because it rained a lot at night, the cow wouldn't go. What can I do about the cow? Should I carry the cow on my shoulder and come, right? Isn't it? It's driving me crazy. The cow has to follow me, right? The cow has to follow. The cow won't go. It's pouring rain all night. Like this, when I got home, it was past 2 in the morning. Oh my, when I come home late, shouldn't they say, you must have had a hard time. Why are you so late? It's dawn. They make such a fuss. I can't even respond. If I do, I have to take a hit. After being hit, I couldn't say anything. Just lower my head and sit there. I've never been able to respond. If I do, They just hit me right then and there. So I can't argue back. Still, somehow, I gave birth to a child who is the Maitreya Buddha. I gave birth to Buddha as my child and said, they're in the Yongwha world, a good place. What do you think? I've never been treated well at home, not even a little bit. If I don't work and just eat, it's a big problem. If I don't work and just eat for free, it's a huge issue. It's a big problem, you see? You turn the whole house upside down. This is not the kind of person I am. I'm really not that kind of person. Now, for example, if my father becomes a monk, becomes the Maitreya Buddha, if my father is a monk and is at a temple, but if I curse at my father, that monk's life is over. There's no second word. I'd go straight to him and finish it that day, right there. Even if 50 or 100 monks surround me, it doesn't matter. Even if 100 surround me, it won't work. Even if it's a tough old gangster, it won't work. I'd kick them away and in just a few minutes, they'd all be gone. I'd sweep them all away. That's how scary I am. Do you know how many kilos a sack of rice used to weigh? 90 kilos. Nowadays, it's 80 kilos, right? In the past, it was 90 kilos. And nowadays, rice is all packed in bags. In the past, there was none of this. There were only 90 kilo sacks made of straw, right? They used to pack the rice in them. They'd pack it and sell or buy it in 90 kilo sacks, right? But if you place a 90 kilo sack of rice in the yard and stick 2 fingers in and lift it, with just 2 fingers, does this weigh 90 kilos? I've said it all, right? Right? If you jab it with your fingers, even an ox would die right there, if you poke it into the ox. But if monks leave comments cursing at me, do you think they'll survive? I'd kill them all. No one would be left. I'm not lying. What? Gangsters? Ugh. Oh, I was raised under people like that, right? He was the strongest on earth. The strongest on earth. Imagine lifting a sack of rice with just 2 fingers. Doesn't that weigh 90 kilograms? Just think about how powerful he must have been. He was that strong, a true warrior. But on top of that, he had a terrible temper. They say people with great strength have good character, but his temper was extremely bad. Look at his facitos and he looked terrifying. His nose stood up like this. And the monks would say, oh my, the person who lived with that frightening husband was my mother, the great Guanyin Bodhisattva. So imagine how much she must have suffered. Just think about it. My mother and I were always thrown out, every single day. If you counted the days in a month when we actually ate at home, it wouldn't even add up to 3 days. We always ate outside. We would get thrown out and eat somewhere in a corner, under the mountain, or in a field. My grandmother would bring us food. Now, I'm spilling all my family's secrets. My grandmother would pack food and bring it to us. Then my mother and I would eat there just to survive. That's how terrifying he was. I grew up under such a terrifying father. Even the mountains and trees trembled. Even the mountains and trees. They'd die. If anyone said the wrong thing, that was the end of them. You know cows, right? Their horns? He would break them. He would snap them with his bare hands. Just imagine how strong he was. He would grab a cow's horn, give it a firm grip, and right there, it would shatter. The horn would break. Would you even dare to speak to him? My mother lived her whole life under such a man. That makes her the greatest bodhisattva on earth. Do you understand? In a month, we didn't even get to eat at home for 3 days. This is no lie. We were always thrown out. He would get angry for no reason, pick fights, and lose his temper. When that happened, we couldn't stay, not even for a moment. My father should have become a monk, but could he have? No way. Instead, his brother-in-law, who would be my uncle, became a monk. He ran a temple. But when he gets angry, there are no distinctions, whether he is a monk, a brother-in-law, or anyone else. Hey, you punk, come here. It's just that if you speak nicely, it's a head, but if you speak harshly, it's still a head. If you grab the head tightly, it will burst. It's that scary, just how strong it is. And so, one day he looked at me and said, I was saying that during the colonial period, Korea lost its nation and the Japanese ruled our country. So originally, during the Sino-Japanese War, Japan fought against China. When they went to war, everyone else would die without exception. But my father deliberately enlisted in the army. Children, why aren't you going to the army? You must go. So he deliberately enlisted and took a boat to Japan, undergoing training for about a week, and then went to China with guns, and fought against the Chinese, as I heard. At that time, they had fought so many wars that they ran out of live ammunition and bullets. So, if things went wrong, they could get shot and die. So they carried swords. A sword. A Japanese sword. The term Nippon means sword in Japanese. A regular sword just has the blade, but this sword has 2 lines of blades along the back. So when you thrust the sword, once it goes in, it wouldn't come out. That's because the sword has blades, so it goes in and out repeatedly. He can't help but keep fighting to avoid dying. He said he couldn't count how many people he killed. Because he's strong. If you touch him, he'll break your neck. If you touch him, they say they can't count. Because he killed so many. Otherwise, he would die. So, he was liberated and came out. So, he gave birth to me. When I was young, I grew up in such hardship, I'm telling you. So, many monks from the temple came, and when they saw me, really, monks who have practiced a lot have a different way of seeing. When monks came, even when I was young, when I was 5 or 6 years old, if I went and sat right next to them, you know, they don't see me as a bug. There's no reason for me to be sitting there. Why would I go and sit there when the monks are talking? I sit right next to them, listen, and I say a word or two. Then they say, wow, this child, really, a young child, wow, this is really no ordinary child. So, they look at my father and say, your son is really no ordinary child. Huh? From my perspective, he's someone who will become a great person in the future. So, they tell my father to raise me well, because I'm no ordinary child. The monk said that. Then, one day, another monk came and said, I prayed a lot, and when I see your son, there is a radiance and light coming from his body. It's not ordinary. I will come next time and have to see your son again. There was a monk who said that and left. And then, after a while, he came again. That monk, he came, and he said he always prays somewhere. But he was about 50 years old, and from my body, he always saw, he said, a radiance, a light came from my body. That monk saw it when I was young. So, he told my father that, when I see it, it's really amazing. Your son is really amazing. He's not an ordinary child like this. Even when I see him in the process of my practice, he's not an ordinary child. So, raise the child well in the future. He gave this advice, I'm telling you. The monks, huh? Then, when I was about 10 years old, that monk came to me one day and said, from what I can see, you resemble the Buddha. So, raise him well. Nowadays, there are monks training centers, right? In the past, there were no training centers. That's why there were the Dharma master monks, right? Called Dharma master monks. When monks renounce, they go to the Dharma master to learn Buddha's teachings, chanting the Buddha's name, and all those practices to become monks. The Dharma master monk, who was around back then, his name was Kim Jintek. Do you know his name? That monk used to say this. Whenever I came, the monk would always say this when he saw me. He never looked at me with disdain. He would say to my father, your son will become the Buddha in the future. He would always say this to my father. He said I would become the Buddha, but not directly calling me Buddha. He'd say, he will become the Buddha in the future. So, people who practiced a lot back in the day could recognize that. But nowadays, monks are just all over the place. To put it simply, monks don't even recognize the Buddha anymore. Isn't that wrong? Right? Then, the monks know I am the Buddha, yet they still don't come. Isn't that wrong? Isn't this interesting? Look at the picture carefully. He looks incredibly strong, doesn't he? Even in the picture, you all wouldn't even dare to stand next to him. That's impossible. If you got close, you'd feel a chill. You wouldn't even be able to stand next to him. That chill would get to you. Just standing near him would make you shiver. He was also massive. If he just looked at you like this, you'd start feeling cold and wouldn't be able to go near him. That chill would get to you. Huh? You think I'm lying? You really wouldn't be able to stand next to him. You'd feel the cold. It's true. If you followed him to the market when he went to buy something and asked, "How much is this?" they would bow their heads and reply, "Yes, this is the price." Just like that, out of fear. Because of that overwhelming presence. That's how I grew up, under my father's harsh rule. Harshly. I mentioned this once before. Great-grandfather's ancestral rite story. The 7th day of the 12th lunar month is my great-grandfather's memorial ceremony. Back then, it was not as cold as these days. At that time, it was extremely cold. There was a lot of snow. When the snow piled up, it wouldn't melt because it was cold. But nowadays, shoes are good. Back then, everyone wore black rubber shoes, called dongyang in those days. Those shoes were made from used rubber shoes that the old candy sellers gave out, didn't they? The shoes that the candy seller brought were melted and recycled into dongyang rubber shoes. Black rubber shoes. Even if you poke it with a finger, it will get a hole. You wore those shoes, right? Then, after some time, it came out the yin-yang model. The yin-yang model is a bit tougher. The materials used were genuine, made from raw materials. The dongyang model is made from recycled materials. So, if you slip even a little, your toes will go out. The toes will tear, you see. And now, he told me, the chestnut tree is just about this big. It's about 7 meters long. It's incredibly big. There were 2. But even just one weighed about 130 kilograms. I carried those 2. He told me to go to the market, sell them, and do the shopping. He told me to do the shopping for the ancestral rites with a market basket. So, my mother heard that, heard it in front of the kitchen, and really, she couldn't lift her head and was sighing like this. How can you tell that young child to sell that and come back? That's what she's saying. But what can you do? I carried it on a jidge. The jidge was about to tear. It weighed about 260 kilograms. The 2 of them. You can't even carry it. Even the strongest men. Can you carry it? Even if you carry just 1, it's hard to even crawl. 2. I was very strong. Because I received my father's seed, I must be strong, right? So, I carried it. Because it's slippery. Because the snow is up to my knees. I was wearing rubber shoes, and I had to wrap them tightly with straw rope. Because it's slippery. So, I'm going Tenri. So, as I carried it and went, my mother, in front of the kitchen. Even if I don't look back, I can see everything. Because clairvoyance was opened. My mother was standing there with her arms like this, looking. How will he come back? It makes you cry. So, now, I rested a few times and went to the market. And people were staring and such. Isn't this someone's son? Oh my, how did you carry this? Isn't this someone's son? Why they cluck their tongues. But no one buys it. Someone has to buy the wood for me to do the shopping. Really, I'm young, and I don't have any eloquence, either. I was about 17 years old then. I was going crazy. So, I just sat quietly next to the cart. It was cold, and what could I do? I sat there with my legs tucked under when a man came over. Hey, did you come to sell this? Yes, I replied. He looked at the wood and said that the wood was good. The chestnut tree is even heavier than the pine tree. The denser the wood, the heavier it is. The paulownia tree is lighter, so it's less heavy. The paulownia tree, the chestnut tree is heavy. Oak, chestnut trees are tremendously heavy. Even the same kind of wood. Then, he said he would buy it and told me to carry it and follow him. So, we went to the swallow's nest to eat. The swallow's nest. There, behind it, was a man working in the farm. He was quite familiar with my father. I'm close with your father. We're friends, he said. When we got there, he told me to put it down in the yard. When I poured it out, the ground in the yard just sunk. Then, he said, I'll buy it, but how did you carry this? I'm not just strong, I'm a general, I said. Then he gave me money. So, I felt good. I had to hurry and clean up, right? So, I quickly sold it, got the money, and went to the market where it caused a big stir. It caused a stir at the market. After that, they wrote down everything, telling me what to buy. So, not a single penny could be spent. If you spent anything, it was a big problem. If you spent, you were in trouble. After struggling to carry the goods all the way to the market, I would sell them and buy groceries, right? If even a few pennies were spent, it was considered a useless act. I would be scolded instantly if I had spent anything. I couldn't even buy a single piece of candy. I had to bring the money back exactly as it was. When I handed it over and said, "There's some money left," he would just respond, "Is that so?" and count the money, without a single word of appreciation, without any acknowledgement of my hard work. Even though I had endured the cold to get there and back, he never once said, "You must have had a hard time in the cold." He would just put the money in his pocket and shut the door. Then, my great-grandfather must have known that I had gone to the market like that, right? Since he was a spirit, he must have known. His grandson sold things and prepared the ritual table. So how do you think he felt? It must have brought him to tears. Even now, talking about it makes me tear up. It was just so unbelievable. Would you all do that if you were told to? Really? Even if I said I'd send you to the Yongwha world, you wouldn't be able to do it. Even if the world ended, would you do it? You can't. It's really harsh. They were that harsh to me. To me. I have 7 siblings, but they were harsher to me than to the others. To me. I don't know why. He's good looking, too. He's handsome. Look at his face. If women see him, they can't go home. Once they look at him. Do you know how handsome he is? He's handsome. His face. He's incredibly handsome. So, if women look at him once, they can't go home. How much they fall for him. They fall for him. He speaks well, too, and there's nothing he can't do. He has great dexterity, so he plays the harmonica best in the world. The harmonica. He's also the best at playing the accordion. He plays the accordion well. He plays the harmonica well. And what do you call this? This, not a violin, but this small one, a jang. This, too, is really, completely his destiny. When he plays the harmonica, you know, the bus driver can't drive. Because he's infatuated. He stops the car, I'm telling you. Do you know how well he plays? He plays really incredibly well. On top of that, he went to school during the Japanese occupation. My father. So, if he sings Japanese songs, you know, it's killer. There's no one who listens and doesn't fall for him. So, if you take the bus to the market, right, everyone knows that my father sings well. If someone gets on the bus, right, they get on and say, "Sir, please play the harmonica just once." People beg. He always carries it in his pocket. In the old days, it was called octavo. The name is octavo. When I was in Seoul, he always told me to buy him a harmonica again. He always told me to buy it. Then I went to the musical instrument store in Jongno 3ga. Octavo, Japanese. The best one. It's expensive. It costs several 100,000 won. I bought that and gave it to him. There are several harmonicas left as relics. I gave him a lot, and there are still some. There must be about 5 or 6 at home. I bought it for him like this. Then, if he takes the bus, he plays it, right? The driver can't drive, they say, because he's infatuated. So, people listen to a couple of songs. They collect money and give it to my father. Because they're infatuated. They say they give him money. They collect money. The bus people. Even when I listen, I'm about to fall for him. I don't know how well he plays. So, the women in the neighborhood, every night, young women, agemas, at least 10 of them come. Usually about 20, 30 people come to the house every evening. They come, and my father is a good talker, so he talks well. If he talks, you know, you don't even know how time flies. And then, he plays the harmonica and accordion, and he sings well. And the women go crazy. Would they go home? If this happens, my mother's mouth is sticking out. These rotten women don't even leave and just sit there all night. So she can't even lie down. Because it's like that every evening. She told me, it's so annoying. Oh, I wish the women wouldn't come. They come every evening. Is it fun? He was really like that, and then he passed away. So, now, there are many stories. It's just that I don't say everything. There are many, I'm telling you. It's just that I don't say it. There are so many. Plowing, too. You know a plow, right? A plow. A plow is heavy, right? It's heavy, right? While plowing with that, the cow. That cow is also a monster. Cows really hate mosquitoes and gnats. When it gets to be evening, if gnats attack, the cow doesn't plow well. It runs. If this happens, even I think it's amazing. Do you know how heavy that plow is? If you carry it, it's a load. He grabs the handle and lifts it. Wow, when I saw it when I was young, it was amazing. He lifts it. But when I was about 19 or 20 years old, right? When I tried it, I could lift it, but I couldn't lift it up easily. His arm strength was that strong. I'm also very strong. Strong. I'm very strong. But he was that strong. He lifted it. I'm telling you, when you see that, it seems like he's the strongest on earth, right? On earth. He lifts it up in one go. Wow. So, there's an old saying that a good child comes from a strict parent. You know that saying, right? I'm not bragging, but I was good to my parents, but I wasn't mean. You know, it's my nature, right? This Buddha, you can't become Buddha just by anyone. Do you think you can become Buddha? Try becoming Buddha. This isn't something anyone can do. To be Buddha, you need to have a compassionate heart, right? That's why you can't do it. Even if you're told to, you can't. If I defy my father, I would be a bad son. I never defy him. If I hadn't been able to eat for 3 days at home and was always kicked out to eat in the fields or mountains, you would probably understand, right? In the countryside. So, after I practiced at the temple, the monks often cursed at me. Do you remember the last time? Was it Lambda or Lambi? That guy, who also left comments and cursed, right? The monks would tell me to put down my spoon and all that. If my father were the holy Maitreya Buddha and heard such things, those people would already be dead. They would 100% be gone. They wouldn't be here. They wouldn't exist. They would rather be caught and die than keep the ones who cursed and were defiant in their sight. They would grab them all and erase them completely. Erase them forever. Erase them all. Do you think they wouldn't erase them? These kinds of people, even in Japan, my father used to hunt a lot. If you go to the cave now, there are hunting tools, spears like this. When my father was young, if he was cursed like me, calling him the holy Maitreya Buddha, by the monks, they would erase them all. Not one would remain. They would take their heads off, rip their heads off right there. Does it sound like a lie? So, after practicing at the temple, I've been cursed a lot. Well, there's an old saying that if you get cursed a lot, you live longer. Have you heard that saying? Haven't you? You've heard it, right? Since I've been cursed by countless people, I sometimes wonder if I'll live longer. Ha ha ha. Oh my. But I feel like I'm stronger than my age, right? Don't you think so? Shriam wrestling story. When I was young, in my prime as a bachelor. These days, when you talk about wrestling, it's all professional wrestling, right? Back then, there was no such thing. There were open-air markets, you know. They would even wrestle bulls in those places. I traveled around the country's wrestling arenas and won many bulls. I was great at wrestling. Once I grabbed hold, the match would last at most a minute. If not, it would be over in 10 or 20 seconds. Even now, I can wrestle well. I may not be as strong as I was, but no one can defeat me easily. Once I grab hold, I immediately throw them down. So back in the day, I wrestled a lot. Whenever I went to a wrestling match, around 200 young men would usually follow me. When I took off my clothes for the match, they would carry them for me. Many people followed me. At the very least, 200 to 300 people would tag along. Wherever I went, I was always the champion. The arena would buzz as soon as I appeared. A murmur would spread. There he is again. Where? I saw him earlier over there. Everyone would be whispering. Then the entire wrestling ground would be in a commotion. Back then, there was a man called General No, who was about 2 meters 10 centimeters tall. He was an enormous man. That was his name, General No. Compared to him, I was like a child in terms of height, but even he couldn't beat me. When I grabbed him, he couldn't even straighten his back. I was that strong. I grabbed him and threw him over, and after that, he didn't even want to wrestle anymore. Right? Isn't life all about that? And I have been doing a lot of business. I have been in business for a long time. Quite a long time. So, I have done it for over 30 years. Much longer. I have been doing it for a long time. Isn't it true that I bought food for the homeless from that factory? While doing business, someone commented that they saw it. At that time, I was wearing a black suit, okay? Because I had a driver, I would arrive in a sedan and get off at Yongsan Plaza. And when I got off, everyone looked at me, saying how cool I was. Then, the homeless people would. In the past, I would cook and serve food, but I found it too hard to continue. So, I designated a restaurant to feed them. But the elderly people passed away, they got old. So, I gave them money instead, to buy food. When I gave them money, the restaurant said they wouldn't serve them well because they smelled. Nowadays, they're called homeless. In the past, they were called beggars. The beggars wouldn't even wash their hands or faces. They smelled really bad from the side. But that truly moves me. It's a story from the past, and it makes me tearful. When they are lying there in pain, they must go to a shabby inn for shelter, to let them sleep. If they catch a cold and are sick, they won't recover. Even with medicine, would they recover if they sleep outside? If they sleep on the pavement, they won't get better. At the very least, it's better to stay in an inn with a coal stove to get warm. When they sleep there, I would often stay beside them, afraid they might die, sitting next to them, worried they might die. The smell is unbearable, it pierces the nose. The stench from his toes is unimaginable. That's right, but if I say it smells, he can't sleep. I sleep next to him all night because I'm afraid he'll die. Then, the homeless person shouldn't die. The beggar, that's how I sleep next to him. The beggar, there are many. So, there were many unauthorized buildings next to Yongsan, in front of Yongsan Station. Then, go there. Unauthorized. Then, there were unauthorized buildings next to Yongsan Market, and an inn. A room where you put in your own briquettes. I slept there a lot, countless times. There are 20, 30 such beggars. People who are sick. Then I bring them and let them sleep. And I buy them medicine. I go to a warm place and ask them to make radish soup. Then radish soup. Radish soup. That's good. Bean sprout soup and radish soup are good. So, now, I feed them. I always do that. During the day, I have to go to the factory and work. When it gets dark, I go there. In a way, I'm really a fool. Me too. Because I lived like that every day. So, because I lived under such a scary father, I have more compassion for people, right? Because I grew up under such a scary father, I had that compassionate heart. More exceptionally, who would do that? You can't. Would you sleep together? You can't. Because of the smell, next to them. You can't be next to them. Because of the smell. The stench, it's indescribable. The smell. The monks shouldn't curse me, but when they hear such words, they should say, he's a really great person. That's what they should say. Why are they cursing me? I'm not someone who deserves to be cursed, so why are they cursing me? That's what I'm saying. And I'm telling the truth. So why are they denying it? That's what I'm saying. Huh? The world, you know, when you see with your eyes and it's visible, that's when you build blessings and act. It doesn't make sense to act in a state where there is nothing. If Shakyamuni Buddha were alive, of course, it would be natural to put effort into him and listen to his sermon. But he's dead and gone, right? It doesn't make sense to believe in a state where he's not there. That's what I'm saying. Right? What can a dead person do? But they make strange statements, calling it trillions of incarnations. What's the meaning of incarnation? What is an incarnation? Believing in the spirit of a dead person is what incarnation means. So, that doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. So, instead of cursing me, they should learn and accept the good Dharma. Accept it, and then do it. Why curse me? That's what I'm saying. I have so many stories from when I was in business. It's just that I don't talk about it. The factory failed, I went bankrupt, and became a beggar, even trying to commit suicide by taking poison. I have a lot of stories, really, but I revived it, gave good techniques, and the factory came back to life, making money, and some people became rich, and it's not just ordinary stories. It's just that I don't talk about it. How distressed must I have been, with the factory failing, becoming a beggar, and sitting on a pile of debt, that I even took poison to try to commit suicide? Think about it. Even carrying a burden, if someone helps you a little, it makes it easier to carry. The business wasn't working, family life was declining, everything was ruined, and I became a beggar. There was no way out, everything was ruined, sitting on a pile of debt. How desperate must that person have been to try to end their life? Don't let such a person die. I'll support them with something good. And with this, you'll definitely become rich. So, I gave it, and many people became rich. It's just that I don't talk about it. Next time when I have time, I'll tell you more, okay? It's fun, right? Is it fun? It's fun, right? What is life? Life is living like this, and that's it. So, many people became rich. Life should be cherished. Yesterday, I saw that a man killed his wife and children. If he didn't want to live, he could have just taken his own life. We kill his family? Isn't that right? That's unacceptable. And there are people who drown themselves. Some even take their families into the sea with them, right? When you see that, you think, just how hard was their life that they had to die? But isn't death the end? Death is the end, right? Then why die? Being born in a human body in this world is so precious. Isn't that right? It's precious. Everyone, you are precious. Life is precious. Just the fact that you were born as a human on this earth. But if you throw that life away, what then? If you want to die, then just die. Alanu Hai, take your family and children with you? That's just killing. Doesn't that make life feel utterly meaningless? That's what death is. Now, listen to something interesting. It will be unbelievable. If you hear the story of someone who lost everything in business, and how I saved them, you will be amazed. Isn't that interesting? That's life. It's unpredictable. Where did the monk go? I just realized I've been talking for too long. How many hours has it been? 3 hours? Oh dear. Huh? I thought I had only spoken for an hour and a half, but time has flown. You all must be hungry. I said earlier in the kitchen, to Shonjong one Bosal, I said, there's so much glutinous rice and red beans in the temple. Do you always make gimbap? Next time, soak the red beans and make sweet rice for everyone. That's what I said, right? The glutinous rice is the finest domestic rice. The red beans are the best quality used for winter solstice rituals. There are 30 sacks here. Sweet rice is good, isn't it? I told them to make it next time, but who knows if they will. Last time, I got mouth sore so bad that my mouth split open. I couldn't even drink water and couldn't eat for 4 weeks. 4 weeks. I lost 5 kilograms. When I stood up after sitting, I would stagger and sway. Even when I took medicine, it didn't work. It didn't work at all. One night, I lay down and thought, at this rate, am I going to die? If you can't eat, you die. But one night, when I was illuminated by Buddha's enlightened light, I felt better. It's good to come to Yongwha Temple. It's exceptionally wonderful. If you hang lanterns, it's astonishing. Once you hang those, you have no worries during your life. You see, if I tell everything as it is, the monks have no place to stand. So they keep slandering. I save my words instead. They engage in slander, which is why I don't speak. I knew about the accident today the night before and I informed the monk. The night before, I said, it's a big deal. Many people will die in the future. And right after, the news came out this morning. I knew about it the night before. Because if I say everything as it is, I save my words and don't speak. There's something I see, something I've seen. But in the future, too, many people will die. You have to be careful. People will die a lot in the future. I'm telling you. See for yourself. If I'm lying, many people will die. Because many people will die, be aware. If it were up to me, I'd want to perform the Chindo ceremony for all those young children who died. But because they curse me so much, even if I perform the Chindo ceremony, they curse me. Those people, really, even if I perform the Chindo ceremony, those people curse me. I won't do it. I told the Buddhist broadcasting system that I would write a memorandum. I said, if I let you broadcast my sermon, I will end Corona, but these guys didn't do it. That's how bad they are. Corona won't disappear quickly. Watch carefully in the future. It won't disappear. Because we performed the Chindo ceremony for Shakyamuni Buddha, the monks keep posting malicious comments, so Corona will last for a long time. They should be thankful to me. They were ghosts, and I sent them to the Yongwha world. So they should bow to me in gratitude. Why are they cursing me? Shakyamuni Buddha is gone now. Every temple has enshrined Shakyamuni Buddha, right? The Buddha statue. There's nothing there. It's all just useless acts. Guanyin Bodhisattva is also gone. I sent them all away, and they're gone. Now, there's nothing in the temples. I sent Amitabha away, too. If you go to the temple, there's nothing there, I'm telling you. No matter which temple in the world, the Buddha statues enshrined in temples are gone now. I sent them all away, and they're gone. The monks who have embraced Buddhism say that there is no effect from Shakyamuni Buddha. There isn't. I sent him away, so what would be there? There's no effect at all. Now, I did a great thing. If I hadn't had a mouth sore the other day, in the fall, really, in the fields, it's the golden season. Going out, it's warm, chestnuts are falling, and when it's time to pick up chestnuts, I was going to release living beings once, actually, but because I had a mouth sore, I couldn't go around. It was like that. We tried it once before. Going there, it's good, but because I had a mouth sore, and now they've all been cut down, so it's no use. Well, ask me, am I lying? I did say that. The Buddha was so concerned about the potential of the Third World War, that his lips became swollen, and we will now pray earnestly on Sundays for his long life and health. War is something fought to save oneself, not for others. It's about stealing someone else's possessions. That's what war is about, isn't it? Humans are like that. Humans, why steal from others when you can live with what you have? So, the Japanese took Korea's land and lived there, but then they returned it. Do the Japanese think it's a good thing? Oh my, there's no one more stingy than the Japanese in the world. Do you know that? Go see how the Japanese live. Look at them. Japan, they are so stingy. In our language, they are miserly. Miserly. They tremble at the thought of spending 1,000 won. Japanese people. Go to Incheon Airport. When Japanese people come to Korea for a trip, they only buy one bundle of rice, one handful of rice. When Koreans go to Japan, they buy all sorts of good things. Oh, the Japanese. Go see. Is that a lie? Go to the airport. When you go to the center, they only buy one handful of rice. Japanese people. The rice from Korea is better than Japanese rice. That's how much Koreans live with exaggeration. How scary the Japanese people are. When the Japanese have children, if they have a daughter, they don't send her to a rich family. The Japanese, they marry off their daughters to scientists or other highly talented people. The Japanese, look here, the Japanese lost the Second World War, didn't they? When you lose a war, it takes 100 or 200 years to recover. Yet, within just a few years, Japan rose up again. Do you know why? Because the Japanese people have an incredibly strong survival instinct. No matter how good Korean things are, we can't match Japanese things. This talk of the heavens is nonsense. Go to Japan. Is that a lie? It's unbelievable. So, Koreans spend money like water when they go to Japan. But the Japanese don't do that. They are so stingy. That's how strong their national character is. That's why the Japanese people, when they set their mind to it, would try to take over China and even Russia. They are bound now, but just wait. If Japan were freed, they would take over America in an instant. Do you know that? That's how terrifying the Japanese are. So, Koreans need to learn from them. Now, finishing up, these people don't seem hungry. Aren't you hungry? Why aren't you hungry? Did you hide gold coins in your stomach? Not hungry, huh? Is this fun? Well, how many more years will I have to do sermons like this? It's a headache. Oh, our head monk speaks well too. He has a good way with words. He does well. Our head of the faithful speaks well too. We should listen to him sometime. Why do you always ask me to speak? Really now? But if I only keep talking about enlightened sermons, it's exhausting. It doesn't go into your head right away, and when you turn around, you forget again. If I ask you tomorrow, you won't understand again. It's difficult, honestly. That's why you have to keep listening repeatedly. If I tell you something once, you won't understand what it means. After a few days, your brain won't register it well. You'll think, what did he say? You won't remember. So, there's this and that, and this too. It seems easy, but it's actually difficult. This is all enlightenment. This, isn't it fascinating? Once you learn all of this, you'll understand in no time. Let's wrap up and eat now. I have to eat too, don't I? So next time, I should give another interesting sermon, right? The group that slanders Maitreya Buddha. In the future, we will develop the world greatly through enlightenment, to allow our living beings to live a bit more comfortably. Even now, if I share good enlightenment with the world, our country can change a lot for the better. It can change for the good. However, if I do that, they will slander me again. Oh my, I can't speak. The monks keep slandering me. I don't know why. Did the monks have some grudge against me? Whenever I speak, they slander me, though they should learn. But they keep using my words instead. When I see it, they use everything I say. Oh my, that really is something. Do you know what it means to imitate? Imitation. I will explain it next time. Stand up now. Let's finish.
(56억 7천만 년) 후 미륵부처님께서 오신다. 이것은 사실인가 아니면 조작된 낭설인가? 조회수 1억 회를 돌파한 한국 불교의 기념비적 법문의 탄생. 안양 수리산 용화사 용화미륵대불 특별 법문 125부. 만물의 기본 원리 공사상, 생명의 모태 광명의 빛, 살아있음의 증거 연기법, 사후 세계의 진실 윤회와 환생, 수천 년간 왜곡되어 전파된 기존 불법에 모순된 깨우침, 그 뒤틀린 이치를 바로잡다. 안양 수리산 용화상 용화미륵대불 특별 법문 125부. 지금 바로 확인하세요.
우주 만물의 법칙, 공사상. 공사상의 창시자, 용화미륵부처님의 가르침. 깨우친 부처는 몸에서 빛이 나오시며 광명의 빛으로 중생을 구제하신다. 만물을 창조하는 태양의 빛이 광명의 빛이며 인간이 환생하게 할 수 있는 것은 오직 깨우친 부처님의 광명의 빛이다. 살아계신 부처님의 광명의 빛, 그것이 곧 공사상이다. 수계를 받는다는 것은 광명의 빛, 즉 공사상을 내 몸 안에 품는 것이다. 죽음 이후 윤회는 없고 단지 모든 것은 소멸될 뿐이다. 깨우친 부처님의 광명의 빛으로 수계를 받으면 죽은 뒤에도 용화세계를 볼 수 있는 눈을 갖게 된다. 천도와 수계는 깨우친 부처님의 광명의 빛을 통해서만 가능하다. 죽어서 천도받지 말고 살아있을 때 수계를 받아라. 보고, 듣고, 확인할 수 있는 것만을 믿고 따르라. 죽은 것은 연기할 수 없고 오직 살아있는 것만이 연기할 수 있다. 금을 인위적으로 만들 수 없듯이 부처는 처음부터 부처로 오는 것이지 기도나 참선으로 중생이 부처가 될 수는 없다. 단 수계받은 자는 광명의 빛을 받아 생불이 될 수 있다. 이 모든 공사상은 용화미륵부처님에 의해 창조되었다. 하늘과 땅, 바다와 산처럼 생명과 창조의 근원이며 한계가 없는 영원 불멸의 진리, 공사상. 용화미륵부처님의 공사상을 매주 일요일 안양 수리산 용화사에서 직접 보고 듣고 만나보십시오.
예수님의 12 제자, 석가모니 부처님의 안한존자, 그리고 깨우쳐 오신 미륵부처님의 공사상을 세상에 알린 해명 해우 스님. 출가 그리고 수행. 석가모니 불께 수기를 받고 미륵부처님을 만나 미륵불법을 펴기까지 조회수 100만 회를 돌파한 해명 해우 스님의 출가 수행기. 불교의 현주소. 천도되지 못한 부모님과 끝없는 천도제의 굴레. 정직한 수행자의 비참했던 과거부터 깨우쳐 오신 생불 용화미륵부처님을 마주하기까지. 거짓 천도제와 잘못된 가르침으로부터 기도하고 빌어서는 이룰 수 없다는 진리를 깨닫기까지. 살아계신 미륵부처님의 몸에서 나오는 광명의 빛을 처음 마주한 살아있는 증인의 생생한 목소리와 진리를 관통하는 깨우친 출가 수행기. 해명 해우 스님의 출가 수행기. 지금 바로 확인하세요.